Amazing turnaround, stricken millionaire secretly reveals hidden hope to ex-wife at her door. Sam Harper stood at a crossroads, his heart racing against the backdrop of the quiet suburban street that once felt like his kingdom. The elegant homes and picket fences whispered memories of a life filled with laughter, prosperity, and warmth, things that now felt like distant dreams. At 45, Sam was a ghost of his former self, a once celebrated millionaire pushed into the shadows by his own choices. He hesitated, his hand hovering above the doorbell of Emily's modest home, an ache in his chest as he recalled the late nights spent chasing fleeting deals instead of cherishing everyday moments with the family he had lost. Pressing the button, the gentle chime resonated, carrying echoes of their shared past. The door swung open, and he was met with Emily's striking gaze, a vibrant presence still exuding warmth despite the years of separation. A rush of emotions drowned Sam, filling him with regret for what he had lost. The laughter of their daughter, Lily, seemed to resonate in his mind, reminding him of how he had failed them both. Sam. Emily's voice was steady, masking the whirlwind of feelings inside. He fumbled over his words, the memories flooding in like an unwelcome tide. She stood tall, a guardian protecting her heart against the man who had built walls around them both. Beneath her composure, Sam sensed the resilience forged by years of struggle and sacrifice. "Listen, Em. I've been working on something for the community," he stuttered, trying to weave hope into his speech. "It's an initiative aimed at helping families who, like us, face hard times. I want to make amends." As he spoke, the warmth of his ambition clashed with a chill of doubt. Could it truly mean something this time? Before he could ponder further, he noticed Emily's brow furrow. "You think that after everything, this will just fix it?" she asked, skepticism lacing her tone. Deep down, Sam recognized the seed of desperation in his plan, but it was his last shot. He needed to channel his failures into something meaningful. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Silence draped over them like a fog. Lily, now a teenager, peeked around the corner, her curious eyes locking onto her father. In that moment, everything shifted. Determination blossomed. Sam realized that this was not just about him and Emily anymore, this was about healing a family. But could Emily let go of the past? The door hung ajar, an open invitation, yet it felt like the threshold of a chasm where time and choice had carved them apart. Sam inhaled deeply, ready to leap into this new chance, while the question lingered in the air: could they breach the divide that had grown wider with each passing year? In the stillness of that moment, hope and uncertainty clashed, standing stubbornly at the threshold of their lives. What would this door reveal for them both? Would forgiveness illuminate the path ahead, or would the past hold them captive? Emily took a small step back, as if to give herself a moment to regroup. Sam felt like he was standing on the edge of a precipice, the weight of his heart pushing him forward. He had envisioned this encounter 1,000 times and rehearsed his words until they lost meaning. Now, faced with the reality of Emily's gaze, he found himself floundering. "Lily," Sam called out softly, not wanting to overwhelm her. As she stepped into view, the years of separation felt like a dam had broken within him. She looked so much like Emily, with the same bright eyes that sparkled with a mix of curiosity and guardedness. "Hey, Dad," Lily said, her tone neutral yet searching. Sam felt a rush of pride and sadness collide in him. She was teetering on the edge of a beautiful future, and he wanted to be part of it, but the mistakes of the past loomed like dark clouds. "Can we come in?" he asked, the question hanging between them like an unfulfilled promise. Emily's eyes narrowed slightly, a flicker of hesitation surfacing. He could feel the tension in the air, a palpable mixture of hope and doubt. After what felt like an eternity, Emily exhaled and stepped aside. Okay, but just for a bit, she said, her voice firm. It was a concession, yet a pathway had opened, just a crack. They walked into the living room, where the walls were adorned with photographs of happier times. Pictures of Lily's milestones, her art projects, her graduation from elementary school, all milestones Sam had missed. Nice place, Sam remarked, trying to break the ice. Emily's expression remained cool, but he caught a flicker of a smile dancing on Lily's lips. What do you want to do with this community project? Emily asked, her voice unwavering. It was clear she had no intention of letting him deflect the conversation. Sam felt a surge of admiration for the strength she had honed over the years. I want to create a support system, he explained, each word carefully chosen. Local businesses, charities, maybe even workshops for parents. Everyone deserves a second chance, right? I've made plenty of mistakes, and I'm trying to turn things around. He glanced at Lily, hoping to draw her in, too. We could make a difference together. Together? Emily echoed, skepticism coloring her tone. What makes you think that you can just dive back into our lives and expect us to trust you? Sam swallowed hard. I don't expect anything. I just want to try. I want to be present this time, to show you and Lily that I can be better. Lily shifted slightly, a hint of empathy flickering across her features. Dad, it's not just about you saying you want to change. We're not the same people we were before. It's not that easy. I understand. But I'm willing to put in the work to prove it, Sam said, his voice steadier, rising above his insecurities. And I need you to believe that I can change. There was a moment of silence, thick with emotion. The room held the hum of the past and the possibility of what might come. Maybe we could start with coffee. Lily suggested hesitantly, her voice softening the tension in the air. Coffee. I'd like that, Sam replied, the tremor in his heart now tinged with hope. Emily looked at her daughter, then back to Sam, conflict flickering across her face. One step at a time, she finally stated, a gentle warning laced with her willingness to consider possibility. As they settled down to talk, Sam realized that he was standing again at the beginning of a journey, this time tethered by a fragile thread of hope. It was only the first step, but for the first time in a long time, he felt optimistic. What lay ahead of them was still uncertain, but Sam was ready to fight for his family. Would his commitment stand the test of time, or would the shadows of the past resurface to challenge their newfound connection? The air in the room was thick with unspent emotions, and Sam could feel the weight of it pressing in from every corner. Emily sat across from him, her posture tense yet slightly softened by the prospect of sharing a coffee with him, an act that had once felt entirely impossible. Lily busied herself in the kitchen, an anchor to the moment, filling the silence with tiny clings of cups and running water. So, what is the first thing you'd do for this project? Emily asked, her voice steady yet laced with a challenge. Sam took a moment, collecting his thoughts. Here was his chance not just to speak but to show he meant every word. I'd start with a community event, he answered, trying to project conviction. Something fun that gets neighbors together. It could be a health fair or a potluck. Just a way for people to connect and share their stories. He searched Emily's eyes for a flicker of agreement, but all he found was the guarded resolve that had been a part of her for so long. That is nice, Emily said, her tone cool but contemplative. But it takes more than a single event to build trust. Just talking about it one tea bring change. I know, Sam replied, the frustration bubbling under his calm exterior. But if people start coming together, forming bonds. I really think it can grow from there. He paused, glancing at Lily, who had just rejoined them with steaming mugs. How about you, Lil? What do you think? Would you help me brainstorm? Lily met his gaze, uncertainty flickering in her own. Sure, I guess. But you have to understand, it's not just about what you want to do or how you want to help, it's also about what we need. That was fair, and Sam appreciated her honesty, a refreshing trait that reminded him of Emily. I get that. It's just, I'm not asking for a green light straight away. Every nerve in Sam's body hummed with emotion as he added, I'm not asking you to trust me blindly either. I want to earn it. Emily sipped her coffee, considering his words. Sam watched the steam curl up into the air, wishing he could capture that warmth and transfer it into the connection he so desperately wanted. As conversation flowed, he leaned in, determined to reveal more of himself. I've spent so much time focusing on my career visions of success and failure. But I've learned that real success isn't about money or status. It's moments like these: family, relationships, community. Emily's face softened, if only for a split second, and Sam seized that flicker. I'm not that man anymore. I'm ready to put in the effort. Are you willing to let me show you? Emily sighed, eyes dropping to the table as she gathered her thoughts. It's not just you changing. We are all different now. It's like you said, we have to find a way to connect again. But every step carries its own risks. Lily glanced between them, sensing the gravity of the moment. I think it's worth a shot, Mom. If Dad wants to try, maybe we should let him. Sam felt a rush of gratitude toward Lily, a wish for time to unfold differently pressing at his heart. Emily looked back at her daughter, and the conversation drifted into lighter subjects: what local parks could host events or how they could possibly sweep the community into action. For Sam, those were spark signs that he wasn't just pushing against a closed door, but rather carving open a new chapter. Yet, as they talked, something inside him fluttered with doubt. Would it be enough? Would their conversations, however genuine, lead to the trust he longed for? He understood now how vital each word, each action was. It was as if he was building a bridge one plank at a time, balancing hopes against the weight of all he had lost. Okay, Emily finally said, her voice steady yet tentative. Let us take this one step at a time, just like we said. I can't promise anything. But I'll think about it. We'll decide together what that first step looks like. Relief washed over Sam, but it was coated with uncertainty. He would have to truly prove himself, not just to her but to himself. As they concluded their conversation, a newfound sense of purpose filled the air, but little did they know, an unexpected challenge lurked just around the corner, one that could threaten the fragile bond they were trying to rebuild. Could they withstand the trials ahead, or was it all destined to crumble once again under the weight of the past? The next morning dawned bright, yet Sam felt the gloom of uncertainty linger like a shadow. After the hopeful evening with Emily and Lily, the weight of what lay ahead felt even heavier. He had spent the sleepless night replaying their conversation, the flickers of warmth from Emily's eyes urging him forward while doubt nagged at the edges of his mind. Around 10, he decided to step out for a walk, hoping the fresh air might clear his head. He strolled through the neighborhood, absorbing the sights and sounds. Children played on the swings at the park, their laughter echoing through the crisp air. Sam glanced at the parents chatting nearby, sharing stories and smiles, a community woven together by little more than shared space and moments. He caught a glimpse of a flyer about an upcoming block party plastered on a lamppost. The thought of such a gathering sent an impulse of hope racing through him. It could be the perfect launch pad for his ideas. When he returned home, all he could think about was how he could turn that vision into something real. He needed to act boldly. He nabbed his phone and texted Emily, "How about we check out the park together?" I think I have an idea. To his surprise, only a few minutes passed before she replied, sure. In 30. Sam felt a jolt of excitement. 30 minutes was not long to plan for what he hoped would bridge the distance between them. He quickly jotted down some ideas and rushed to get ready, his heart racing with a mix of anticipation and trepidation. Emily arrived right on time, her expression a mixture of curiosity and caution. So, what is this big idea? She asked as they walked toward the park, her hands tucked into her pockets to fend off the autumn chill. Sam took a deep breath, forcing himself to meet her eyes. I think we should host a community event like that block party. But not just any event, something that allows people to connect on a deeper level. We can have booths with local resources, maybe a cooking demonstration, music. It's all about making people feel they belong. Emily frowned slightly. That sounds great, but you know it's not just about the event, right? It needs to resonate with what people are feeling. Many folks out here might not feel like attending something organized by us. I know, he admitted, quickening his pace to match her intensity. That is why we need to listen first, hear their stories. People want to feel seen and heard, and they don't need us to fly in and save them. They just need to know we care. A moment of silence followed, and Sam felt hopeful that his words were breaking through Emily's walls. She halted in her tracks, studying him with a mix of skepticism and appreciation. Okay, she finally said slowly. I can see how starting with listening might work. But how do we get people to talk to us? Community surveys, Sam suggested, his mind racing. Door-to-door visits, maybe? Just simple conversations, get a feel for what worries them, what might bring them together. We need to invest time before asking them to invest in us. Emily's eyes softened slightly, but the flicker of fear was still present. It's ambitious and it won't be easy. I'm aware, Sam replied earnestly. But I'm in this for the long haul, Em. I want to rebuild not just for me, but for you and Lily, too. They reached the park, and it bustled with life. Families were setting up for picnics, and friends lounged on benches. Sam watched as kids chased each other, oblivious to adult concerns. It reminded him of simpler times, moments where laughter overshadowed anything else. Emily crossed her arms, her expression hedging between hope and skepticism. Let us map this out, she said at last. But we need Lily involved. This is as much her project as it is ours. As they began discussing their plan, Sam felt the tightness in his chest loosening. For the first time in a long while, he sensed something shifting between them, like seeds of trust starting to sprout. But just as they were deep in the conversation, a loud commotion erupted on the far side of the park, drawing their attention. A young boy was crying while a crowd gathered around. A dog had gotten loose and was racing through the grass, barking excitedly. It seemed harmless, but the distressed parents indicated it was more complicated. Emily's eyes darted to Sam, a spark of worry igniting in her gaze. We should help, she said, her voice cutting through the noise of the park. Sam knew in that moment this single event could be pivotal, not just for the boy and the dog, but for them all. Their first test of connection, an opportunity to step outside their comfort zones. Let us go, he said, and together they rushed toward the scene, each step bringing them closer not just to the boy and the dog, but to one another as well. Little did they know, this moment would either strengthen their resolve to rebuild or threaten to pull them apart once more. As they approached, thoughts raced through Sam's mind. What if this was a sign of things to come? Would they seize the moment to bond or let the chaos of life pull them in separate directions? As they reached the scene, the frantic barking of the dog filled the air, mixing with the tearful cries of the boy. Sam's heart raced. He glanced at Emily, the worry in her eyes was palpable. This wasn't merely a lost dog, it was a chance for them to step up together. Stay close, he said, instinctively taking her hand as they maneuvered through the small crowd. We have to get the dog away from the boy first. Then we can comfort him. Emily nodded, her determination shining through her initial hesitation. They moved closer, where parents were trying to distract the excited dog. Sam squinted to make out the boy's face, twisted in sadness, his small frame quivering. Hey there, Sam called softly, crouching down to the boy's level to appear less intimidating. What is your name? The boy sniffled, his wide eyes gazing at Sam with a mix of fear and hope. Lucas. Lucas, can you tell me about your dog? Sam asked, gently encouraging him. He is really fast. His name is Max, and I can't catch him. Lucas wailed, wiping his tears with the back of his hand. All right, Emily chimed in, kneeling beside Sam. Let us work together. Lucas, can you show us where Max likes to go? With a nod, the boy pointed, and together they began to guide him away from the chaos. Sam quickly glanced at Emily, who was already setting a plan in motion. Okay, Lucas, Emily spoke soothingly. How about we find something Max really likes? Maybe a ball or a snack. That will help us get him to come back. As if sensing the shift in energy, the dog darted toward the edge of the playground, oblivious to the surrounding worries. Sam and Emily exchanged glances filled with purpose. This felt like the teamwork they'd been striving for in their lives, stepping up for each other, leveraging their strengths. Lucas whispered, he likes squeaky toys. Great. Sam's mind raced. Let us use that to our advantage. Emily, can you keep Lucas calm? I know a store nearby that might have one. Emily nodded, determination building. I'll stay right by him, she assured Lucas, crouching down to his level. We're going to get Max back, I promise. With urgency, Sam dashed toward the nearby shop. Scanning the shelves, he located a bright green squeaky toy. It was a simple thing, but it felt like a lifeline in that moment. Just as he reached the counter and paid, a burst of laughter erupted from the park behind him. It was infectious, a reminder of joy, something they all needed now more than ever. Sam rushed back, and as he turned the corner, breathless but hopeful, he saw Emily and Lucas sharing a smile. The dog was slowly being calmed by a few older children who had gathered to help. The squeaky toy might just be the missing piece. All right, Lucas. Sam shouted, waving the toy. Let us bring Max home. The boy's eyes lit up, and he ran toward Sam, ready to make his move. Emily stood by him, her face filled with an unspoken pride in this tiny triumph they were achieving together. The moment felt fragile, yet filled with raw possibility. The crowd watched with growing interest, a small sense of unity forming among them. As they approached the dog, Sam could hardly believe it. This chaotic scene wasn't just about a lost pet. They were building bonds not just with each other, but with an entire community. Max. Lucas called out, excitement bubbling in his voice. The dog perked up, ears flicking toward the sound. Sam squeezed Emily's hand, their eyes locking for a brief moment. The warmth between them was unmistakable, a surge of hope they both desperately needed. The next few moments played out like a movie. Lucas squeaked the toy, and the dog, now intrigued, began trotting back, tail wagging furiously. The crowd erupted in cheers as Max bounded toward the boy, leaping into his arms. As the two embraced, joyful shouts rippling through the park, Sam turned toward Emily. We did a good thing today. But just as the moment seemed to crystallize, a figure emerged from the shadows. An unfamiliar man approached, his expression serious, eyes locked onto Max. Excuse me, the man said sharply. That dog belongs to me. Sam's stomach dropped. What had seemed like a moment of triumph took a sudden, sharp turn into uncertainty. The glimmer of hope they had started to build together now felt threatened. Would the connection they deformed with the community come crumbling down? The man's eyes bore into Sam, an intensity that made the air feel electric. Lucas had just been reunited with Max, and now everything hung in the balance. The cheers of the park faded, replaced by a haunting silence that wrapped itself around them. "Who are you?" Sam asked, feeling a protective instinct flare up. He stepped slightly in front of Lucas, shielding him. "I'm Jacob," the man replied with a taut expression. "And I'm Max's owner." The crowd murmured, curious faces shifting toward the confrontation. Sam could feel the tension in the air as Emily stepped a little closer to him, her hand gripping his. "Max was lost," Lucas said, his voice quivering. "He got away from me. We found him." Jacob's expression softened slightly, but it quickly hardened again. "That doesn't matter. He is still my dog. You can't just take him." "But he was scared." Sam shot back, anger bubbling up. "Lucas is just a kid, afraid he lost his best friend. We helped him." Emily looked at Lucas, whose face was transforming into devastation again. "Is that true, Lucas?" she asked gently. "Did you just lose Max for a moment?" Lucas nodded, tears pooling in his large eyes. I didn't mean to let him run away. I just wanted to play." The man's posture relaxed slightly as he looked at the boy. For a fleeting second, Sam caught a glimpse of compassion on Jacob's face. But as quickly as it appeared, it vanished. "That still doesn't change anything. We need to take him home." Sam's heartbeat echoed in his ears. "Listen, Max loves this kid. You can see it. He came back to him." The conversation felt like a game of tug-of-war, emotions flipping back and forth. The crowd was watching closely, the tension thick enough to slice through. "I'm trying to get Max out of an abandoned situation," Jacob said finally, his voice a mixture of frustration and vulnerability. "I've been trying to keep him safe. He ran when I wasn't looking. Even with the time I've spent caring for him, I can see he is not just a dog to this boy. But I don't know what else to do." Sam eyed Emily, who was now squatting beside Lucas, wiping his cheeks with soothing movements. "It can't be easy for you either," she offered gently to Jacob. "But maybe there is a solution." The man regarded her, and Sam saw the flicker of humanity return to his eyes. Maybe we could all talk about it. Find a way where Lucas can help with Max, perhaps?" Emily proposed, her voice steady and calm amid the chaos. Lucas looked up at Jacob with big, hopeful eyes. "I could help take care of him. I promise I won't lose him again." The silence hung thick again as Jacob considered this. Max wagged his tail, sensing the underlying tension but wanting nothing more than to be loved and played with. With a final sigh, Jacob seemed to relent. "I suppose there could be some kind of arrangement," he offered cautiously. The park was alive again, chatter bubbling up as hope flickered back into existence. Sam felt a wave of relief wash over him. Maybe they had found a way to create a solution together, to embrace all sides rather than fight against one another. But just as the discussions began to swirl, another figure emerged from the edge of the crowd, a woman, furious and storming through, her voice cutting like a knife. "What is going on here? Jacob, you better not let that kid take my dog." The situation darkened once again. The crowd felt the shift, tension rising back up as the woman stepped closer, eyes blazing. "Things just got more complicated," Emily whispered to Sam, a new wave of uncertainty washing over them. As they braced for what was to come, Sam's heart raced again, wondering how this chaotic morning would ultimately unfold. Would they find a way to unite, or was division looming ever closer? The woman's voice sliced through the air, igniting a fire in Jacob's eyes. Sam felt the urgency, the need for diplomacy amidst the brewing storm. Who are you? Jacob demanded, his voice sharp and defensive. I'm Hannah, she retorted, hands on her hips, and I want to let you make a decision about Max without me. He isn't just a pet, he is family. Lucas's face fell, understanding dawning on him. Sam caught a glance of Emily's worried expression as the crowd leaned in, waiting for the next volley. He is just a dog. Sam exclaimed, a hint of desperation creeping into his tone. But he means the world to Lucas. Family. Hannah scoffed, he has been with me since he was a pup. If anyone understands him, it's me. You are just a kid. You think you can just take him back after losing him? Lucas took a step back, his timid nature overwhelmed by the intensity around him. I didn't mean to lose him, he stammered, voice trembling. I just wanted to play. This only seemed to fuel Hannah's outraged stance. And just who are you, Lucas, to think you know what is best for my dog? Jacob's expression wavered, caught between his fierce protectiveness for Max and the rapid unraveling of a potential compromise. Can we all just keep our heads? He pleaded, glancing between Hannah and the boy. There's got to be a way we can handle this without making it worse. Sam felt strongly for Lucas, whose eyes shimmered like glass, filled with a mix of uncertainty and sorrow. Maybe there is a way we can share Max. If he is happy with both of you. Hannah narrowed her eyes, clearly skeptical. And how does that work? You'll just pass him back and forth? It's not a game. Her tone dripped with incredulity. Sometimes love needs a little flexibility, Emily chimed in, taking a step forward. This boy genuinely cares for Max. You can see how much he wants to protect him. If he is in a loving environment, that matters. It has to matter. Max, sensing the rising tension, began to whine softly, his tail wagging nervously, looking back and forth between Lucas and the adults. Sam wished he could convey to everyone that the dog's happiness was the real heart of the issue. Maybe we can set some ground rules. Jacob suggested, finally moving to back Emily's idea. We could all meet and discuss how this works. No one has to feel as if they're losing Max, but he needs to feel secure. Hannah crossed her arms, a look of disbelief settling on her face. And why would I trust you? You're just letting this kid run wild with my dog. Because Max deserves his chance at love too, Lucas spoke up, his voice now a little steadier. He is not just a dog to me. He is my friend. I promise I'll take care of him. The air crackled with a mix of disbelief and hope. Sam felt the weight of the moment stretch, each heartbeat heavy with possibility. Could they actually reach an understanding, or would the tumult of emotions tear them apart again? As Hannah looked at Lucas, her steely facade started to crack ever so slightly. I just want him to be safe, she said, her voice softening for the first time. The crowd was silent, holding its breath, longing for resolution. Just then, a child's laugh rang out nearby, momentarily lightening the mood. But the weight of their situation still loomed over them all. Let's work together, Jacob urged again, his voice a mix of urgency and calm. For Max's sake. As they all paused to consider this delicate proposal, another voice cut through the tension. How can you trust each other? How can you be sure this will work out? All heads turned to see a bald man standing at the edge of the crowd, arms crossed, casting doubt with a sinister grin. Sam's stomach churned at the thought of a new threat emerging when they had only just found possible common ground. What would happen next? Would their fragile peace shatter under scrutiny, or could they silence the doubt that loomed large? Sam's mind raced, hopeful yet apprehensive, as the weight of the moment settled in their hearts. The bald man's challenge hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. Anxiety rippled through the crowd, turning hopeful looks into wary glances. Hannah's expression hardened instantly, her resolve returning. What do you mean by that? She shot back at the stranger. Lucas flinched at the tension, his small frame shrinking as he clutched Max closer to him. The dog must have felt the pressure because he whined softly again, tail tucked. That pit in Sam's stomach deepened. We can't just take someone else's dog like it's a toy after losing him. The man scoffed, stepping closer to the group, confidence radiating from him. What if Lucas promises to care for Max and then, I don't know, decides to keep him for himself? Jacob took a step forward, fists clenched at his sides. You don't know anything about us. We all care for Max. We want what is best for him. The man tilted his head, studying Jacob like he was an interesting puzzle. Care isn't always enough. People change, feelings fade. You think Hannah is just going to hand Max over? And what is to stop you from tearing him apart when things don't go your way? Jacob's anger flared, his voice quiet yet fierce. You don't know what you're talking about. Hannah sighed, clearly irritated by the interruption. I'll do what I think is best for Max, not what some stranger claims. She turned back to the group, and for a moment, it seemed like the icy chill around her heart began to thaw. Maybe I'm not being fair. Max deserves love from both sides. But it needs to be done right. Maybe we can write some agreements, Emily suggested, her voice gentle but firm. We can make a schedule, a plan. That way, you can feel secure about what happens. The man grinned again, an unsettling look in his eyes. You think a piece of paper will solve your problems? People break promises all the time. No. Lucas shouted, surprising everyone, including himself. I want to break my word. I want to take care of Max. I would never hurt him. His resolve filled the quiet space, sparking a small flicker of respect in the onlookers. Hannah, Jacob urged, his voice dropping to a quieter tone. Look at him. He really means it, you can see it. But to do this, we need to trust. Trust means being vulnerable. It's worth fighting for. As Hannah searched Lucas's earnest eyes, the crowd held its breath, waiting for her to respond. Moments felt like hours, and then she broke the silence with a sigh, looking weary but hopeful. If he can promise to take care of Max, I'll consider sharing. But only if we set clear limits. A flicker of hope ignited within Sam, feeling the ground shift under their feet. But just then, that strange man interrupted once more, pressing forward. And if it all goes south, just remember, people never change, even when they say they will. Sam stared at the man, anger bubbling up again. How could he say something so cruel? The uncertainty loomed larger now, as the crowd's collective energy shifted yet again. Lucas looked down, heartbroken. What if the man was right? The echo of doubt hung in the air, threatening to snuff out their fragile agreement. They needed a breakthrough, but could they leap forward with so many shadows looming behind them? Behind Jacob, Emily whispered, Don't let them take your hope, Lucas. We're not defeated yet. Lucas picked his head up. He hadn't given up. But as he met Hannah's eyes, could she hold on too? The moment was pivotal. And as they stood on the brink, the question lingered, would hope be enough to overcome the shadows of doubt? Hannah felt the weight of the room shift. All eyes turned to her, each gaze urging her silently to make a decision, to choose a path. In that moment, she wanted to scream, to unleash all her confusion and fears, but instead, she took a deep breath, steadying herself. Lucas needed her to be strong. Fine, let us figure this out, she finally said. We can meet here every week, and we'll keep everything clear. If there is any sign of trouble at all, we'll reconvene and talk it through. The words stumbled out, not as authoritatively as she had hoped, but her intention was set. Lucas's eyes sparkled with gratitude, lighting up like stars in a dark sky. Really? His voice trembled slightly, hope etched on his young features. Yes, really. But we need to keep things fair and honest, she added, her tone firm. You can just take him when you want. I'll always be Max's mom. The bald man scoffed, rolling his eyes dramatically. And how long do you think that will last? You really believe you can keep him from the kid? People say things when they're desperate. Hannah felt her jaw tighten. I'm not desperate. I care about Max. And I think Lucas really does too. With that declaration, she glanced over at Lucas. His innocence pulled at her heart, a quiet reminder of all that love can withstand. But the stranger's sneer carved deeper insecurities within her. What about you, Lucas? The man pressed, his voice mocking. Do you really think you can be the kind of dog dad he needs? It's a big responsibility for a little kid. Lucas stood taller now. I can handle it. Max is my best friend. I would always take care of him. His eyes gazed around the crowd, and for a brief moment, joy brightened many faces. As the onlookers exchanged weary smiles, their hope rekindled. Hannah felt a flutter of doubt take root again. What if Lucas couldn't? What if the moment was as flimsy as a paper promise? All right, let us set some rules then, Jacob suggested, stepping forward with purpose. We can make this work. We have to. We owe it to Max. Hannah nodded, breath catching in her throat. Everyone seemed to lean in closer, ready to draft agreements, to build trust in something so fragile. But that man's voice cut through the optimism like a blade. Trust me, if things start falling apart, it won't be pretty. Sam glared at him, filled with righteous fury. Don't you think we already know? We're here trying to fix things, not tear each other down. The bald man straightened, an amused expression crossing his face. Oh, the knight in shining armor. How quaint. Hannah shook her head at him, her frustration boiling. She could feel the crowd's energy shifting once again. Listen, she said, her voice suddenly quiet yet powerful, no one here is guaranteed to be perfect. But we do care. We stand together, hoping for the best, despite what you say. Lucas stepped next to her, determination glowing in his eyes. I want to let you win. I want to show everyone that it can work. Max deserves that. The man's grin faltered for just a moment before he spoke again, though now tinged with irritation. Promises can turn to dust. Just remember that. As he turned away, Sam nudged Lucas gently, forcing a hopeful smile. You're doing great. Just keep that determination. But beneath the surface, Hannah felt a storm brewing. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. As she glanced at Lucas, she wondered if they could hold on to this fragile hope long enough to see it come to fruition. The crowd began to disperse, still buzzing with uncertainty as the weight of the bald man's words echoed in their minds. A sudden jolt coursed through Hannah. What if this is just the beginning of something deeper? Something more than Max? But as the thought lingered, so did the question. Would her heart be brave enough to find out? The sun began to dip, casting a golden hue over the park as Hannah, Lucas, Jacob, and the crowd gathered to forge new connections. Spirits were still shaken from the earlier confrontations, yet hope hung in the air like fragile gossamer. Let us get to work, Jacob said, breaking the silence, determination igniting in his voice. We need to hammer out a plan. Hannah nodded, her heart still racing but with a newfound sense of unity. Yes. We can start with a shared calendar. How about one weekend a month where we all come together for Max's playdates? Lucas jumped in, enthusiasm spilling over. And we can take turns bringing treats. His eyes sparkled at the thought, pure excitement radiating from him. Emily stood a little ways off with Sam, who watched the interplay with a swell of pride. "They are starting to bond," he whispered to her. "This could be the spark they need." Emily smiled, a genuine warmth spreading through her. "It is. They're forming connections, not just with Max, but with one another." As the plans began to take shape, more folks from the crowd stepped forward to contribute, sharing ideas and resources as the weight of doubt slowly lifted. Sam felt reinvigorated, his heart filling with conviction. Hannah's assertiveness was slowly turning heads. "If Lucas can promise to care for Max, we can create a support system for him," she insisted, her earlier anxiety morphing into resilience. "I will always support Lucas, whether it's sharing training tips or helping him balance schoolwork with Max time. We can work together." Lucas beamed at her, his heart full. "I promise I won't let you down." Sam, inspired by the interchange, stepped into the forming circle of families. "And I can offer my business skills. I have contacts that could help raise money for community events. We could create a foundation for kids and pets to bond, allow everyone to be involved." Emily touched his arm gently, encouragement flowing between them. "See?" she said softly, her voice light. "This is progress. We are helping not only this kid, but building a community." As laughter rippled among the crowd and ideas flourished, hope sparked anew. The shadows from earlier, the doubts, began to fade into the background as connections forged before their eyes. "Sam, I see you," Emily interjected, her voice steady and firm. "You have changed. You're willing to invest in this. You're investing in us." Sam looked deeply into her eyes, feeling the weight of the past lift as new memories began to form. Emily appeared softer, more approachable, her walls cracking just enough to let light shine through. Just then, a burst of laughter erupted nearby, reverberating through the park as children played with Max, finally finding a family of friends he could run with. "Look at them," Sam said, his voice barely a whisper. "Look at how much can happen when we come together." The glow of hope encapsulated him. It felt like the warmth of a long-lost embrace. In that moment, Lucas and Max tumbled together in a bundle of fur, laughter echoing into the evening skies. Hannah stepped forward, her expression proud yet vulnerable, realizing she was allowing her heart to embrace something new and unexpected. As the skies turned a soft pink, the park lit up with bursts of creativity as families shared ideas, leaning closer to one another, weaving connections like a fine tapestry. "Maybe we can plan a community festival. Something that celebrates our stories, what brought us all together," Jacob suggested. Sam's heart soared at the enthusiasm in the group. "Yes. A festival." Emily agreed. "With booths for community services, pet adoption events, and workshops." "Perfect," Lucas exclaimed, his excitement palpable. As the conversation flowed, Hannah offered a tentative smile to Lucas. "I think we can do this together. But remember, every step needs care. That goes for both of us." "I will," he promised, reassured by the community surrounding him. In that shared optimism, the differences faded, giving way to acceptance, flexibility, and the understanding that change required constant effort but also heart, connection. And the belief that hope could guide them through. As the sun finally dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with purple hues, Sam looked around at the gathering, a community reborn right before his eyes. The shadows of the past were finally flickering away, replaced by the light of newfound purpose and shared dreams. And in that warmth, he turned back to Emily, the walls between them crumbling faster than he ever thought possible. "Do you think we could build something new together?" he asked, vulnerability lacing his tone. "I hope so," she replied softly, yet a smile danced in her eyes. The evening drew on, and as laughter filled the once quiet park, the realization sunk in: they were no longer just a group of individuals. They were a community, woven together by love, acceptance, and hope. And as they stood on the brink of something beautiful, they collectively vowed to honor each other. In those golden hours, they recognized that the journey wouldn't be easy, but they would face it together, each willing to invest in the connections that had begun to take root. It was just the beginning, and for the first time in a long time, Sam felt the light of unconditional love and the promise of healing radiant, hopeful, and profoundly transformative. Now, if you found this transformation inspiring, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will tug at your heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread the love. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending because we want to hear from you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. True fans understand the importance of supporting this channel, and together, we can create a community that thrives.